You might think you have the answer to who your niche is actually helping. If you do, fair enough. But if the idea feels unclear when you try to explain it, you should stay tuned. In this video, I will tell you how to recognize who your niche is actually helping without guessing. Most people assume they know who their niche helps based on the topic they choose. They connect the subject with the type of person and move on without questioning it. The problem is that this assumption isn't tested. It's based on what sounds logical, not on what actually happens when you speak or create. Because of that, the picture stays vague. You might feel like you're talking to someone, but you can't describe them clearly or understand what they truly need. That's usually where the uncertainty starts to show up. When you're not clear on who you're helping, creating becomes harder than it needs to be. You sit down to work, but the direction doesn't feel solid. Ideas don't come together easily. You might start something and stop halfway because it doesn't feel right. Over time, this creates tension. You begin to question your niche, your message, or whether you're even on the right path. The friction comes from trying to move forward without a clear reference point. Trying to decide who your niche should help often adds pressure instead of clarity. A steadier approach is to stop choosing and start paying attention. When you speak or create, certain things feel easier to explain than others. Over time, that attention shows you who your work is landing with. That's how clarity begins to form. Clarity around who you're helping often shows up through interaction rather than planning. Certain conversations move forward with less effort. The questions feel familiar and the answers come together without much resistance. In those moments, the exchange feels steady instead of forced. There are also topics that seem easier to stay with. Explaining them doesn't require constant clarification, and the direction feels clear while you're speaking or writing. As these moments repeat over time, a pattern begins to form. Some interactions feel grounded and productive, while others feel harder to sustain. Paying attention to that difference gives you useful information about who your work is actually reaching. Once you start recognizing who your work is reaching, many decisions become easier. You're no longer guessing what to talk about or how to frame your ideas. The niche begins to feel more stable. Topics connect more naturally, and the direction doesn't shift as much from one piece of content to the next. That steadiness reduces the mental load that often comes with creating. This kind of clarity also changes how you relate to the niche itself. It feels less abstract and more grounded in real situations and real conversations. With that shift, moving forward takes less effort. The work becomes something you can return to without hesitation. To summarize it, start by talking about something you already understand well, and pay attention to who responds with ease. You don't need to have this figured out perfectly. Understanding who your niche is actually helping takes time and attention, not pressure. Clarity usually shows up gradually as you stay present with what you're creating and how people respond. Small signals add up, even if they don't feel obvious at first. As long as you keep noticing and adjusting, you are already moving in the right direction. Knowing who your niche is actually helping makes everything else feel lighter. If you've been stuck because your niche feels unclear or overwhelming, it often comes from one simple mistake made early on. Watch this video next to understand what that mistake is and how to fix it before it slows you down.